All right, so today we are in lesson 2 of unit 3. In our opening, it says, in the previous lesson, you revisited expectations for the performance task for which you will now reimagine a scene from The Lightning Thief. The new scene will include an original character, the child of a Greek god or goddess that you will research. In this lesson, you will gain more practice learning about a Greek figure as you read Hestia and summarize key details as you will during your independent research. Our learning targets for today: I can determine a central idea and how it is conveyed through details in Hestia, and I can write a summary of Hestia without personal opinions or judgments. So we've got the text Hestia here. It is pretty short, 3 paragraphs. Hestia was the daughter of Cronus and Rhea. She was the Greek goddess of fire, specifically the domestic hearth, which was in the area on which people had fires in their homes. Now, in these early days, the hearth was seen as the most important and most sacred part of the dwelling. In fact, the hearth was held so sacred it was always built in the center of every home. It was a few feet in height and was built of stone. The fire was placed on top of it. The members of the family would gather around this fire, and the head of the house would take the place of honor nearest the hearth. Here, prayers were said. In Grecian cities, there was a common hall called the Prytaneum, in which the members of the government had their meals. In the common hall was the public hearth called the Hestia after the goddess Hestia. The Hestia fire was where the meals for the members of the government were prepared. The goddess Hestia is generally represented standing, and she always appears fully draped. Her facial expression is serene but serious. The next part of the lesson is where we will make a copy of the language dive. If you were not in class today, it might be helpful to watch this video. We did not watch it in class because it's 10 minutes long and we went through the language dive together, but that is definitely an option to you. So when you make a copy of the language dive, it will look something like this. All right, so we did most of the language dive together, starting with the first paragraph. Hestia was the daughter of Cronus and Rhea. She was a Greek goddess of fire, specifically the domestic hearth, which was the area on which people had fires in their homes. They wanted us to focus on the second sentence. The first question says, what does the underlying chunk of the text tell us? On which people had fires in their homes. That tells us that the hearth was where people had fires. And they want us to look at the other part of the sentence that was not underlined. She was the Greek goddess of fire, specifically the domestic hearth. Hestia was the Greek goddess of fire and the hearth. All right, now we are completing some sentence frames. We have a couple first based on the Lightning Thief. Here is the cover of the Lightning Thief, on which there's an illustration of, and we said, Percy standing on a statue of Poseidon in the water. So the highlighted parts are what we added. The Lightning Thief is the book in which Percy goes on a quest to find Zeus's master bolts and save his mom. Now we're doing the same thing with the Hestia text. Hestia is an informational text in which we learn about Hestia, Greek goddess of fire and the hearth, and the importance of fire to early Greeks. Did I just delete the right part? I did. All right, so then we put all of that together to come up with our central idea that Hestia is an informational text in which we learn about Hestia, Greek goddess of fire and the hearth, and the importance of fire to early Greeks. All right, now we have some questions based on this second paragraph. Which is most likely the correct definition of sacred as the word is used in this section? We said sacred means having to do with religion or holy, and we based that answer on the keyword prayers. What is the meaning of the word dwelling? We chose house based on the keyword home. We then had some supporting details for the central idea. The hearth was the most sacred and important part of the home. Around the hearth, prayers were said. Third paragraph, we said that common means shared with another or others.